Hi, I'm Ruben Gonzalez, and today we're going to talk about Thomas Edison, one of my heroes. I've always been intrigued by what made that guy achieve so much, right? He had over 1,000 patents, and I've read several of his biographies, and one thing I learned is most people back then, if you were an inventor, you worked on your own. You might have had an assistant or two, but that was it. But Thomas Edison, he had many assistants, right? He hired lots of engineers. In fact, Henry Ford was one of his engineers, and they all worked together. And historians, they actually believe, a lot of them do, that the light bulb was great, the phonograph was great, right? Movies, he invented motion pictures. That's great too. But in the long term, his biggest invention was he invented R&D, research and development, on how to get a whole team of people working together, right, to get things done. One of the things that Edison did was he would work in 90-minute chunks. 90-minute chunks. He'd work on one thing. He didn't even check his emails, okay? He worked on one thing for 90 minutes with no interruptions, and then he took a little break. His first lab was in Edison, New Jersey. Next time you're in New Jersey, you got to check him out, okay? But Edison, New Jersey, and right behind it, about 100 yards back, was a little pond. And so he'd work for 90 minutes, then he'd walk down that path and he'd fish. He just loved to fish. And if you went to visit him, if you were another inventor, he'd take you out fishing, because that's how he got his mind, creative. And then he'd come back and work on something else for 90 minutes. I've done this 90 minutes working on one thing at a time for years. And believe me, it's huge. It helps you so much because it really gets you focusing on one thing and gets your brain really ramped up a lot faster, right? You're able to dig deeper in your thoughts, and you get better ideas, you get more stuff done. And you take a little break, play with your kids, right? We homeschool, so we play with them for a little bit, and then another 90-minute chunk. If I get 3 or 4 of those a day, I had a great day. And so I learned that from him. Now, I'm going to share a few of his quotes, but let me tell you about Henry Ford. Henry Ford was 16 years younger, and Edison was so revered back then that if people knew that Edison was going to be on a train, they liked to vacation down in Florida. They had a vacation home to, eventually they built their houses. Ford and Edison built houses right next to each other in Fort Myers. I've been there, really cool place. And so they networked all the time. Harvey Firestone hung around with them as well, Firestone, right? Big minds sharing ideas. Well, when people knew that he was going to be coming down the train, hundreds of people would be at the stations all along the way, and when Edison walked up and where they could see him, there was a silence. It was like a reverence, right? They didn't even applaud. It was like, oh my gosh, there he is. This supreme respect they had for him. And anyways, when Ford was young, right, and he was thinking about the internal combustion engine, all the other people, all the other scientists made fun of him, right? They said, that's impossible, that'll never work. And Edison said, boy, work on that. That's a great idea. You need to focus on that. And he just slammed his fist when he said it. And that was all Ford needed to do. He just ran with it, and the rest is history, right? And so when Edison's laboratory, his second laboratory, was in West Orange, New Jersey. That's where you have to go. Okay, that's part of it burned down. Back then it was most of it, right? And he lost everything. And Ford, by then, he was very successful with his cars, and he lent them about $750,000 to rebuild. I mean, how cool is that? That was a little thank you, right? For I wouldn't have all this money if you hadn't given me the encouragement to get started. So here's a few quotes that I want to share with you, because again, we can all learn from Edison. Number 1, discontent is the first necessity of progress. Discontent. So if you're not happy, right, if you're frustrated, you're in a good place because you're hungry, right? And you're mad. And you can harness that mad to build something, build that business, move forward, and get things done. All achievements, all progress comes from discontent. You're not happy with something and you want to build a better mousetrap. Number 2, I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That was his answer to a reporter that was trying to bring him down. He said, well, Isn't it true that you failed 10,000 times? And he said, no, I haven't failed. I discovered 10,000 things that don't work. Now, he wasn't being a smart ass, right? No, he was actually protecting his attitude, right? He didn't want to listen to this guy telling him he was a failure. He was telling him, no, I'm not a failure. I'm 10,000 times smarter than I was before. Smart guy. Number 3, when I have decided that a result is worth getting, I get to work and make trial after trial until it comes. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is to always try just one more time. Okay, he was Mr. Perseverance, okay? Just keep trying. And don't worry about failure. Failure is how you learn, okay? And just don't do the same thing twice, right? You don't want to repeat your failures. Learn from your mistakes. And so that's what he did. Don't quit. Number 4, opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. Yeah, okay. When I hear that you have to work smart, not hard, nah, that's BS, okay? You have to work smart and hard. You have to outwork the competition. If your competition's working 10 hours a day and you want to pass them, well, you probably have to work 12 hours a day, all right? I mean, I had a mentor that used to say, you know, people might catch me, but they're going to have their tongue dragging. Yeah, outwork the competition. And you can only do that if you're passionate about your goal. So, you know, be passionate about what you do. Number 5, I never did anything by accident, nor did any of my inventions come by accident. They came by work. See, he had a goal, right? He had a dream, a goal. He kept going. He refused to quit. Trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. Surrounded himself with winners, with other people, and together, guess what? Immortal, right? Over 1,000 patents. So be like Thomas Edison. Okay? Surround yourself with winners. Encourage other people. Refuse to quit. Try different approaches. Work your tail off, and you'll make your dream come true. Make it an Olympic day.